Hello everybody, this is Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead on our Friday chat. We've had a busy week since the doctor turned me loose and told me that I could basically do whatever I wanted to. I was amazed and it only being 2 weeks, but he said I looked like I'd healed up perfectly fine. And we've been planting this week. We've got most of our squash has been planted. We've planted most of our tomato plants are out.
Some peppers.
We've got them in containers. We've been pulling up some of our seeds for drying, which we'll probably have a video on that before long. Our
mustard seed.
Mustard, tender green seeds. We've been hoeing our potatoes some dirt up around them because they're up to 2 feet tall now, and the tractor won't get over them without pulling the plants over, so we're having to do some hoeing on that. We got so much going on. We've been picking strawberries. English peas is not far from being ready to pick.
I'm still getting asparagus, and we're still eating asparagus fresh.
Yep. There's a lot going on in our homestead right now. I'm glad to know that I'm able to get back. Now, I'm not 100%. Don't get me wrong. I still got my problems going on. I'm still having problems with my heart and all that, but it's where I can get out and do a little bit anyway.
And we just want to thank all of y'all for the prayers and keeping up with us. So it's been, he's on the mend. So. I'm
on the mend. The apple trees are starting to bloom out. We've got peaches about the size of, what do you say, a nickel?
Yeah, pretty good size peaches.
Pretty good size. They're about the size of a nickel. So that's good.
Pears about that size.
Yeah, we got pears about the same size. Huckleberries by the piles. Blueberries are already about the size of your little fingernail.
Mulberries. I picked just a small handful already this morning from the mulberry tree.
Okay, another thing that we've noticed, we want to make just a little bit in our chat here, is the trend we see going on in our country about the vegetables. We've noticed this, especially in the grocery stores, and how the trend is changing. We watch people as they pick up vegetables in the stores and look at them, and this mindset in our country is that a vegetable has to look perfect.
Or an apple.
An apple or an orange or a banana. I mean, it doesn't matter when people pick up heads of anything and look at it, or if it's not perfect, they think there's something wrong with it. And that is probably the furthest thing from the truth. We go to the grocery stores a lot of times on purpose on a specific time of the day, a specific day, because at that time the produce manager is usually going through the store and he'll have a huge box of things that they're just fixing to throw out. And for 50 cents, I can buy this huge box. I mean, I can buy a huge box full of produce for 50 cents.
And he's just pulled it off.
Yeah, he just took it off the shelf.
I mean, I got 2 big packs of, no, it's more than that. It was several packs of parsley.
Parsley.
There was nothing wrong with it. It was starting to droop.
It's starting to wilt a little.
So I just dehydrated all of it.
Yeah, I mean, so, lots of times, apples and lemons and all this kind of stuff. And there are some things now. We got, this past week, we got, about 10 acorn squash?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had a few little blemishes on them, but
the animals love them.
The animals love them, and it's
that's
perfect.
That's what we get it for, is the animals, basically.
That's what that's the basic thing. We get it for the animals, but, I mean, it's that mentality in our country that is making it so difficult. I mean, that's why we have to have all of these hybrids and genetically modified foods and stuff like that, because people's got it in the back of their mind that if something's not perfect, I can't eat it, because we've been brainwashed into believing that. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'd a whole lot rather eat an apple off of one of my trees that has not been sprayed with anything that has a worm in it, or a peach that has a worm in it, than I had to go to the store and buy one of those perfect looking apples or peaches or something that's blemish free. I mean, I'd rather eat ours from the homestead.
Hey, little bitty potatoes, we take and we can
put them in jars and can them.
And most people go, oh, it's too small, and they'll pitch them. Because I've been guilty when I was younger of doing that.
Well, we've done it here.
If they weren't good-sized potatoes, if they were little about like this, we'd just pitch them with the vines and not use them.
Not use them. And another thing is not just vegetables, but we've been noticing eggs. We got this is the craziest thing in the world to me, but we have so many people that look at us and go, oh, there's no way I'm eating an egg from a farm. Mm. And that just blows my mind.
They would rather have a pretty white egg with the little light yellow yolk.
Yeah.
And then have one of
in a paper thin shell that has no nutritional value to it whatsoever. And they think just because it says on the outside of it that it's high in omega-3s, you know, they think that they have really done something. You know, they say, oh, because of my cholesterol-free egg. Let me tell you what, it takes cholesterol to make the brain work. Most people don't realize that. Cholesterol is not a bad thing unless you let it get out of control. Your body needs a certain amount of cholesterol in it. And if you have a farm-raised egg that is high in omega-3s, the cholesterol is not going to be bad in it. A free-range bird that gets out in free ranges is going to have an egg is going to have a dark orange yolk in it that is going to be nutritionally just rich.
The shell's usually tough. And
yeah.
I mean, when you go to crack it open, it doesn't crack in your hand.
You got to really hit it.
You have to hit it, and they go, oh, well, the shells are so tough. What difference, you know?
That's the way it actually is supposed to be. That's what I'm telling you. The mentality has changed in our country. Most people don't realize that when you go to a grocery store and get an egg, that egg is already 4 to 6 weeks old before you ever get it. And if you go and buy from a local farmer somewhere, at least you're running the chance that you're getting a fresher egg. At least it's probably within one day to maybe a week or so old. But predominantly all eggs in the stores are 4 to 6 weeks old before they ever get on the shelf. And it just blows my mind. I have tons of people I know that just sit and say, there's no way I'm going to eat an egg from a farm. I mean, they've got chicken crap on them. Well, you know what? They've all got chicken crap on them. They've just been run through an egg wash. You know, and that's... Okay, we're going to move ahead here. Wanda's got a little bit that she wants to talk about.
Yeah. We went to the post office this week, and
yep.
I got these, and when I opened it, I'm sitting looking at them, and I'm going, okay, maybe it's napkins. You know, not thinking. They're real soft. It's flannel. But I got a letter from Miss Joanne, and she said that this was for me. These are family cloths. And what she told me is they're reusable toilet wipes for pee only, she said. And I just love them. Miss Joanne, I want to thank you for this, because I had told her, I sent her a letter telling her I was trying to think of a way that I won't spaz over toilet paper if something happens. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking about buying a bunch of washcloths that simply were a certain color that were my toilet paper, you know. And when these came, I was just ecstatic. I had never thought of them. And she said, you fold them, tri-fold them, and use them, and you put a container with some water and drop them in it, and then you wash them. And I just think this is like the most awesome idea. They're called family cloths. So if you guys want to look them up, look that up. Thank you, Miss Joanne.
All right. We've had a lot of requests on our different chats wanting to know, would we recommend certain books that or what are some of the books we use on our homestead? And people are wanting us to recommend good books. Mm-hmm. Now, we've already told you, dealing with survival, we've told you about, you know, The Patriot and 1 Second After, you know, some of those types of books. But we're gonna move to a little bit different category this time, and we're going to show you some of the books that we keep on our homestead to do with herbs, to do with gardening, and just a different array of books. And we're going to show you, and we're not going to show you all the books in this chat. We're going to show you just a few books that we keep on our homestead that really has helped to educate us over the years. And a couple of magazines that we have subscribed to that we get on a regular basis. They have some really good articles in them. And I'm going to let Wanda start off with hers.
Okay, the one thing, I've had this book probably close to 20 years. It's Prescription for Nutritional Healing by James and Phyllis Balch. Balch. This book, it goes from headaches to bruising to colitis to anything you can think of, bee stings. It tells the herbs, it tells supplements, it tells what to eat, what to stay away from. It's just like, it's a good all-around book to have for any type of illness that you can look up and see what you should and shouldn't do. And it's called Prescription for Nutritional Healing. Then herb books have always been my favorite. I love herb books, but I always want to know what they look like. I want to be able to compare. And so I have two. This one has been with me for many, many years. It's called The New Age Herbalist. Okay, it has nothing to do with New Age movement. You know, I had people look at me and say I was crazy. But do you see, this book shows the stems, the leaves, the flowers, the fruit, and it gives explanations on each one. And I just love it. This is one of the best, The New Age Herbalist. And the other one is Holistic Herbal. This one also has pictures, but not as well as this one. And it gives descriptions and tells what they're good for. And so you want to be able to identify. As an herbalist, you do not want to take something you do not know what is. So these are just three of my favorite books that I think every homestead should have, because you need to be able to identify herbs and you need to be able to tell what you need to do for sickness when you can't go to a doctor. This one is by, the Holistic Herbal is by David Hoffman. The New Age Herbalist, Richard Mabey, M-A-B-E-Y, Richard Mabey on The New Age Herbalist.
Okay, now, the books that I keep here, I have like a library of books, really, because over the years I have done nothing but read for years and years. Is because most gardening books are written to people that are not in our climate. They're written to people that live in a northern climate, or perhaps a central U.S. climate, or maybe a western climate. I have yet to find books that are written for the southern gardener that I think are very which is one reason I thought about writing my own book. I've seriously considered writing a book myself. But one of my favorite ones, for just general information, is going to be this one here. Is called The Vegetable Gardener. This book is just loaded with knowledge. It's loaded with pictures. I really like it. It's by Edward C. Smith. Very, very good book. It has different sections in it that talks about composting. They talks about companion planting. You know, and then it's got a plant directory, and in that plant directory it tells you each individual plant. It tells you what pH it requires. It tells you how much the fertilizer, the nitrogens, whether it be low or high that this plant needs, or the phosphorus or the potassium, any of this stuff. And it is just a fantastic book. It even includes herbs in the back of it, what these herbs need and how to plant them. I mean, it's just a fantastic book as far as just general knowledge is concerned. But it's called The Vegetable Gardener's Bible by Edward C. Smith. One of the other books that I use, now this one here is probably one of my favorites. I've had this book for quite some time. And this one is called The Encyclopedia of Country Living by Carla Emery. This book covers it all. I mean, like the title of it is exactly accurate. This is the 35th anniversary of it. It's an encyclopedia. You can see how thick it is. It covers any part of homesteading that I think I could even think of, from handing up a sheath of grain all the way to food preservation, putting up fencing. I mean, you name it. Animal care, butchering. I mean, it's in here. I mean, it's all in here. Ms. Emery did a fantastic job with this book. I think it's one thing that every homestead should have. This is probably the one book to have on a homestead as far as just being chock full of information about just about anything. Now, as far as magazines go, I've been asked about magazines. What magazines do I like? I get a subscription to several different magazines. One of the first ones, as a lot of y'all probably already get, is the Mother Earth News. I love the Mother Earth News. I can go online and look at it, but I always like to have something in my hand.
Yes, that's
our big issue here. Ebooks are fine, don't get me wrong, as long as you got technology, as long as you got electricity, but if EMP happens or some kind of man-made disaster, natural disaster, life-changing event happens and we have no electricity, then
you still have something to hold in your hand and look at.
That's why we tell people, get paperback books. Do not depend on an ebook. If you've got a way to print an ebook off, I suggest strongly print it out. Get it in your hands, because this is priceless right here. You can't, if internet goes down, you got nothing. These, if you're sitting there going, wow, I remember reading about that at some point, you can go back and look at these books until you find what it was that you were looking at. But if the internet's down, you're just stuck.
Yeah.
And another one that I subscribe to, it's not a very old magazine. It's been around for a few years, probably
3,
maybe 4 years it's been around, something like that.
Not long.
Not long. Is the New Pioneer. Now this,
I like this one better. This is my favorite.
This is probably one of my favorite books, mainly because it just deals with a lot more about homesteading. You know, these are 2 of the magazines that we use on our homestead here. We got some more magazines, and as time goes on, in our other chats, I'll bring out other magazines that we get.
And different books.
Different books. We're going to continue to upgrade you with books and knowledge in that area, and just kind of see what, give you some thoughts anyway about the books that we use. Now granted, all books are not going to work for everybody because the climates are different. That's one of the things I was telling you about. Even Pioneer, one of the things that I guess that frustrates me about Pioneer is I haven't found any articles hardly that deals with the Deep South where we live at. And that's what I'm mainly searching for, is literature for our climate. Something to deal with the problems that we deal with. And that's one of the reasons that Wanda and I are seriously considering starting to write some books, because it's just, there are just not any out there for what we go through down here now. And we also want to throw out is our, we're wanting to do a
cookbook.
Yeah, let's call it a cookbook, this one. We're going to do a series of books, but we're going to do the first one to be a recipe cookbook. Yeah. And what we want to know is, we want some input from our viewers, is if we was to build this cookbook, which we're already starting, as a matter of fact. She's working on building it. Would our subscribers be interested in having a cookbook from Deep South Homestead of the different recipes that we use here on our homestead?
Some of them we've already showed you in videos, a few of them, but we've got such a variety, because now we're doing gluten-free, but it's not going to be just a gluten-free recipe.
Right.
I'm going to show the regular way and the gluten-free way if I can on these recipes, but some of them just substitutions.
Yeah.
I have to do a lot of substitutions, and I've had to work around things, and I have yet to find a book that has simply what you can substitute for cream cheese or sour cream or
or if you need to make
cream of mushroom soup,
buttermilk, how to make your own buttermilk if you don't have it, if you want to make something to eat,
I'm sure they're out there, but I'm not one to go to town and go hunting things, so I want my own book, and I'm just curious how many of you would like a book like that too.
So we're in the process of making that. If you are interested, in the link down below, the comment section, put a comment in there and tell us if you'd be interested in this cookbook.
And we're just curious, would people be interested in purchasing some of these if we go to the time and effort to produce them?
Or, let me say this, maybe some of y'all have some suggestions about a book that you might want from us.
Yeah.
And if you do, put that in the comment section down below, and when we go through them, if we find enough comments on specific interests, we'll look into doing that, because that's what we're here for. We are here to help y'all as an audience
and provide knowledge.
And provide knowledge that we have here, because to be honest with you, Wanda and I have spent years of our life researching and doing things We're getting older, and it's time that we begin to pass this knowledge on. Like we said, I think it's been several chats back, we are not trying to get rich at this. This is not, I mean, we don't make anything at this, to be honest with you. It actually costs us money instead of making money.
Pretty much.
Pretty much so. But our desire is to just be a blessing to the viewers that watch us. That is our whole, it's like a ministry to us, because we were talking to our pastor the other day about this, telling him that how that our YouTube channel has actually become a ministry to us, not necessarily so much about pushing the gospel
or religion,
because
like
we're not really about pushing any specific type of religion. I think when we get to heaven, we'll all be God's children. I mean, that's my personal belief. I don't think there's going to be any one particular denomination. But our goal and our ministry is to help people.
Yeah, simply helping with
any
knowledge.
With any knowledge, whether it be gardening, canning,
herbs.
If it happens to be about the Lord, then praise God. But I mean, you know, we just want to be a blessing to people.
Yes, everywhere.
Everywhere.
We don't want to discriminate against anybody.
No, we won't do that.
We don't, and we take constructive criticism.
Yes.
If you don't agree with us, that's okay.
That's okay. We're not going to get upset, because there's a few things I'm nailed down on, and I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to waver on. Yeah. But I am pretty much an open-minded person, and when it comes to specific comments and stuff, I look at it with an open mind. Mm-hmm. I don't take things offensively. I'm a little bit more mature than that. I mean, there's some things I question. I'm like, well, what is the true meaning behind this? And I'll usually sit and look at it for a while before I even answer it, to make sure that I've thought it through properly before I ever make a comment.
The last thing is, every week we still have our frugal family food meal, and this Friday is Olypowerguy, Olypowerguy. They do a pretty good little segment on rabbit pot pie today. Yep. So check them out, and it'll be in the link below so that you can find it.
Okay, everybody out there, we just want to tell you we love you and we appreciate you from Deep South Homestead. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch us.